have a little brief conversation, then I'll turn it over to you and your questions. We'll probably just do a line right on here. And again, remember, you have one question. Please don't request line readings and character voices and hugs and all that stuff. And direct questions have to be to everybody. If you need help with that, tap me on the shoulder. I'll help you branch it out. So, you all ready for this? Please welcome our first guest. She is an actress whose credits include the Batman Arkham Asylum game series, several versions of Star Trek. Yeah, we like Star Trek and Star Wars here. It's all good. And of course, the Metal Gear Solid game series, which we will be talking about in a panel tomorrow with David Hayter, so please come back and check that out. Today, she joins us as the voice of Jedi Master Shakti and Governor Ames. Please welcome Tasia Valenza! By the way, someday we need to talk about space above and beyond.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody know space above and beyond?
Yes. Yes.
Another unsung hero.
Absolutely, absolutely. And next, he is a multiple award-winning actor whose credits include American Dad, Phineas and Ferb, SpongeBob SquarePants, Adventure Time. He's also the pirate in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Today he joins us to give voice to Commander Cody, Captain Rest, Box, and the Clone Troopers. All of them! Please welcome Dee Bradley Baker! And next, he's an actor, producer, and writer whose body of work includes Batman, Brave and the Bold, Johnny Test, the Ratchet and Clank game franchise, and today he joins us to discuss giving voice to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Please welcome James Arnold Taylor! As the voice of Anakin Skywalker. Please welcome Lanter! And finally, she's an actress and entrepreneur whose credits include That's So Raven and DC Superhero Girls. Today she joins us as the originator and voice of Ahsoka Tano. Please welcome Ashley Eckstein! So lively.
I know.
It's really great. Oh, friends, welcome to Jacksonville.
Thank you.
I hope you're having a good day so far and a good weekend and all that fun stuff.
Yes.
So, I've heard some of these stories from some of you before, but I would love this audience to hear. Let's just go back to the beginning, and how did this particular gig and these roles evolve and get cast for each of you? And since you are new to me, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Well, I auditioned. As we actors must do. It was, I remember I had already played some
Safer.
video game characters for Star Wars, but then I just auditioned and kind of tried to, because she had no previous voice, it was kind of nice because I could, kind of feel what I would do, and I felt like Shakti has a lot of, she's a Jedi, so she's so much cooler than I'll ever be. But I think she's like a maternal wisdom that I kind of wanted to bring to her, and thankfully they liked it, and that's how it goes. So I just got lucky enough to be cast as her, and still grateful to be her.
awesome.
Even though, who knows if she's dead. But
Well, again, we talked about this the other day. There's a precedence now in Star Wars that not necessarily everybody dies where they get a lightsaber to the middle of the chest.
Or when you cut them in half.
Oh, yeah! You know, yes, absolutely, yeah, Good point.
Oh, there's candy in play.
Yes. Game on.
It's my panel, it's always candy.
is it only if you give a good answer? Because
Well, fun answer, and they get if they ask a question, and they stay within the rules.
Oh, okay, then they get it. Okay.
Nice. Dee, how'd this start for you?
Well, I got a call to audition. I auditioned for Andrea Romano and Dave Filoni. And
Saint Andrea, as I call her.
Yeah, she's the best,
she's
and I miss her very, very much. She doesn't work anymore. She retired. But got the audition and got called back, much to my surprise. And this role was, I stepped into that not really knowing what that was and never really having done anything like that. And it's been for me, I think, my favorite creative challenge is to try to sound like a human, but to make them all different. And we didn't know if that was going to work right out of the gate, so we tried it. And I think the Domino Squad episode that kind of cinched it. That I think these guys kind of work as separate individuals, and we can keep going with this because we'd recorded a couple of seasons before it ever aired, and so it was in play for a very long time as we were working on it before anybody ever saw it.
Yes, 6 years.
Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for your service, and
Yes,
thank you for your
sir.
service, and thank you for your... Oh, I can go on, sorry.
I'll see
Thank
what
you.
you're doing there. Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
Hello there. That is cool. I mean, yeah, cool, chosen one, both of you, very cool. But at least I get hello there, right?
See, I told you they would let it out at their own test.
And we'll see if I have the high ground. Although if I stand and he stands, he definitely can. So for me, it was 23 years ago for the micro series of the Clone Wars. I know there's some micro series fans out there, right? And at the time, the movies were still being made, so I had to match Ewan McGregor, as I call him Sir Ewan McGregor's voice as closely as possible. And then they made the Revenge of the Sith video game, and then Ewan has these wonderful layers. And so he's got to, I have a bad feeling about this master. This kind of soft, gentle, and he was doing this wonderful, these aren't the droids, he had that kind of Ringo kind of sound to him. And then he has this, when he's angry, come to your senses. What would Padme do if she were in your position? And so they was like, could you recreate that? And so it was, you are the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. I shouldn't talk to him, should I? Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. You are my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
You were supposed to be a safe space, but I guess not. I'm very attacked.
And then when they made the other agonies, I feel like you should have the red one. Anyway, so then when they made the next one, they were kind enough to call me in, and Dave Filoni came in and said, hey.
Blue one.
Yeah, okay. And the rest is history. Now we have this wonderful, amazing Clone Wars. All thanks to all of you sticking with us all these years. So God bless you.
Yeah, it was just a simple audition. I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, but you have the coolest story. Right, Ashley?
I think so.
You do have a pretty
Ashley,
good
yeah,
story.
Come on, tell it, come on.
I love your story.
No, it was an audition like any other audition. I knew it was a Star Wars something, but that's all that they were willing to share. You probably know, Lucasfilm, Star Wars is very secretive on everything they do. So I knew it was Star Wars something. And, prior to that, we had the micro series, but we had 6 films. Like that's kind of what people knew. So the idea of Star Wars television in and of itself was kind of odd. Anyway, so I went into the booth, didn't know the character. Dave was there, told me to do whatever I felt like Luke and Han together sounded like. And that was my vocal direction, and that was it. And I read the copy. It was a scene with R2, and
What was your name?
Deke Starkiller. Not much on the internet about Deke Starkiller in 2006.
Well, Starkiller was one of the early names in the early drafts.
Right.
It was with Luke Starkiller, I believe, or it was Hans. Well, it was in
Somewhere
Luke's
in
name.
there
So
somewhere,
they used it
yeah.
as a placeholder name.
But not very straightforward to like Google it. So yeah, that was it. And then yeah, I left and I got a call a few days later, and they said you got the job. And by the way, you're Anakin, and he's one of the leads on the series. And can you come to Skywalker Ranch to meet with George? So yeah, a couple weeks later, I was up at the ranch talking to George in his office.
No big deal.
Yeah.
And interesting too, because you were the second one at bat at that.
People may know by now because we've talked about it before, but I was not originally cast. There was another actor who played Anakin for the first like 4 to 5 episodes.
It was Matt Lucas. He was in the Clone Wars microseries with me.
Yeah. And so actually the movie that you guys know now, and maybe even the next couple of episodes, is actually me trying to dub over a performance, which is really challenging. So I had that extra layer. So I actually was up at the ranch, for, I don't know, maybe a week or something, dubbing over at Skywalker Sound what they had already done. So that was my intro to the series. So yeah. Yep. Does that satisfy you? This is a mild clap.
Take it away, my dear.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like people have heard about my journey at this point to become Ahsoka and the fact that I could not do an Icelandic accent. So originally, first of all, originally I auditioned for Padme. We knew that it was a new Star Wars animated show. They were looking for a voice match for Natalie Portman. And I found out the night before. So, we didn't have much time to prep. And so I practiced as much as I could, but I sounded nothing like Natalie Portman. So I show up to the audition, and they were running an hour behind. All of the top voice actors were there that, I had been auditioning for 4 years, which equaled probably about 400 auditions that I did not get, that I lost out to these legends.
Yes, I was Padme originally.
And so I'm a very positive person, but that day I was very down on myself. And I walked into the audition, I saw all of the top actors there, and I actually walked out. And I went to my car and I literally put the keys in the ignition and I called my agent and I said, you know what? They're running an hour behind. I was really hangry at the moment. And I was like, I have no shot at this role. I think I'm just gonna go. And he begged me. He said, Ashley, whatever you do, go back in there and do not leave. He's like, please do the audition because you never know what will happen. And so begrudgingly I did. I went back in and I wait an hour, I go in, I say my first line as Padme, and Dave Filoni stops me and he was like, no, you sound a little too young to be Padme. They're like, but there's this new character that, nobody knows about. We think you could be right for her. So they give me these generic lines for a 14-year-old girl. That's all I knew, is that she was a 14-year-old girl and that she was new. But they wanted her to have an Icelandic accent, and I could not do it. And I was so frustrated. And so I walked out and I thought, well, that's it. That's another audition I did not get. But then about a month later, I get a call back. And I'm like, how the heck did I get a call back? And they said, we really want her to practice her Icelandic accent. Like, can she, study that before she comes in? So I hired the top dialect coach in all of LA at the time, and I thought I mastered Icelandic. So I go into the audition. I'm so proud of myself. I say my first line in Icelandic, and Dave Filoni stops me again. And he was like, no, he's like, can you make it sound a bit more Icelandic? Wow. Now, at this point, I'm really frustrated.
And hangry still.
And hangry still.
You hadn't eaten in a month.
I hadn't eaten.
I can feel the hate swelling in you.
Yes. And so I did something that I would normally never do. I raised my hand and I said, I'm sorry, I am doing Icelandic. I don't know what you want. That got me the part. So Dave wanted somebody snippy, but not bratty, and I managed to be snippy. And that's where Snips was born, because I couldn't do Icelandic.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great lesson for an actor, is that your job is not necessarily to go in and do what they tell you to do. Your job is to go in and do something that's so good that they realize, oh, that's what I want. And that may not be what they say it is. It may be what you bring.
Dee, that would be you with American Dad, wouldn't it? With Klaus?
Yeah, that's another example of not going with the audition description and just going with something in that case, in American Dad, I think was better than what they were asking.
Y'all know Klaus, the fish. He was supposed to be French, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to be Francois the fish. Yeah.
But you don't do a French accent.
You're right. Yeah, I knew German, and I thought I could make this funnier if I did it in German. So in that particular instance, that works, and that doesn't always work. But it's a really great. I mean, Ashley, that whole story is, I think, a really great indicator for anything where you think you're walking in, and the job is not necessarily just to do what you're told or what you think everybody else is doing, but you bring something of yourself there, and that can change the entire definition of what they want. It really can.
Strangely enough, though, I did Obi-Wan with an Icelandic accent.
The Force is strong with you, Anakin.
I don't know if that's Or Icelandic, yes. Thank you, Mr. Filoni.
Well, friends, thank you for indulging my capricious curiosity. Before I start taking out some of their awesome questions, I'm having myself, and I've told you some of these before, but I'll always say it again. Thank you. Thank you for your talents, thank you for your professionalism, and thank you for the performances you brought to these roles in particular, but throughout your entire careers. You've all collectively done an amazing body of work. You brought so much enjoyment and pleasure to so much of fandom, and you've been a friend to fandom as well. So thank you all. All right, you know what? I'm gonna do this Donahue style. So we can just do a big line because really too I'll do like a section around with this. So who wants to start us off right here? All right, I'll go ahead and take it up right. I'm gonna pick the microphone to you.
You made a Donahue reference, like.
That's right, yeah. I'm that old. Okay.
Yeah,
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Heather. So I'm a librarian, and I'd like to know what's a book that made a positive impact in your life.
I love that. And thank you for being a librarian.
Yes, absolutely. Here, take two.
Who's going first?
I would say how to win friends and influence people. I do love that book, actually.
Dale Carnegie.
That's right.
Excellent book.
Tasia, what about
And that wasn't his real name. His last name was like Murray or something. He took the name Carnegie because it was successful and big at the time.
Wow. Oh, well, thank you. Gosh, there's so many great books, but there's one I read recently that was very impactful that I highly recommend called Into the Magic Shop. And it's about a doctor in real life who started as a very young man with a lot of challenges in his life, and he learned the skill of visualization and affirmation and basically manifested this very magical life. So it's something that I love learning over and over again, and if you want a great book on a real life person who has really created their lives and made magic of it, I highly recommend it.
Mr. Baker?
Man, I read a lot of books, and I really believe in reading. I read every day out loud to myself.
That's
I'm
why you're a
reading.
successful voice actor.
It's really fun to do, and it's this analog thing that I really hope our world does not forget. But there's so many books I really loved. I'm gonna I think I'm going to choose Lord of the Rings. I read through that a couple of times, and I thought it was really beautiful, and it really drew me in. Read through it twice before I was done with high school, and I think books change you, and I think reading a book is a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one I read every day is the Bible, and it's kind of a cheat to say that's my favorite book. C.S. Lewis wrote a book called The Problem of Pain, and as somebody that has dealt with anxiety and depression and panic in my life, that book was a calm in the storm whenever I go through those. It's a wonderful book, and it's a deep theological book, but it's pretty great. Also, I was the assistant librarian in my 7th grade. So I love librarians. It's a very cool place. You already had a joke. Do you want to do like a non-jokey book, or were you serious?
No, I was serious.
Oh, you were serious? You're like Anakin. I thought you were being like,
No, I do love that. It's a great book.
It is a great book.
It is, but I just
A lot of life lessons, but
It's
thanks
still
for
around.
insulting my intelligence, Ashley.
Hi, Grond.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give a different answer that I've never actually shared before, but reading was hard for me. I wasn't, all my friends around me, they were just such fast readers, and they loved reading, and I wanted to love reading, but I wasn't that fast at it, and in turn what happened, I became very self-conscious about my reading. And I feel like I'm only sharing this because I'm sure there's somebody else in here that's like me. And I didn't find my passion for reading until I started reading plays. And then I couldn't read enough. So it was more of like a format thing for me. And I was really into acting. And so I just remember it was like the summer I found reading. And it was when I just devoured scripts and plays. And so I share that to say it's like, if you struggle with reading like I do sometimes, like you just have to find the thing that really makes you passionate to pick it up. And mine is, if I see a script, I'll read it fast. Like it's just, I found my passion for reading. And I'm sure you see that in kids, where it's just like every kid is different. Awesome, thank you.
Another round of applause for educators. For me, it's The Making of Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry. Yeah, I know, it's a Star Wars panel, I should have said. Okay, all right, hey, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Jenny.
What you got, Jenny?
So my question is, so Clone Wars expanded on characters that the movies never could. So what moment in Clone Wars that made you appreciate your characters?
That's a great question. I don't think we've ever.
And that's a great costume. What are you dressed as?
I'll kick that off because that moment for me is my favorite Ahsoka moment of all. And it's the season 5 finale where Ahsoka walks away from the Jedi Order.
I haven't watched it all yet. Oh, you ruined it.
You can still say it. I know, sorry, spoiler. But that moment, not only did it change me, that was a major life moment for me that has inspired my life. But after the show was canceled, in the years after that, I realized it wasn't just me. I feel like that's when Ahsoka really started holding space in people's hearts. And I think she's been holding space ever since.
I was going to say that same moment because in that moment, Anakin, I can? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anakin says something, and I can't remember verbatim what it is, but he's talking to Ahsoka, and he says something like, more than, I understand what it's like wanting to leave the Order. And for me, that felt such a vulnerable moment. He was trying to say so much to her in that moment without saying the words, but he was essentially telling her about Padme and his life and how, it gets him down at times too. And I don't know, I just thought that was a really cool, vulnerable moment, but he still has to be this Jedi, and he can't say these certain things, but he wants to, and I think part of him wants to run away with her.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I just really love that moment, and it was a kind of an eye-opening moment.
Can you imagine if he had left with Ahsoka?
Strictly platonic, though. Strictly.
Well, he would have grabbed Padme and they all would have been
And
cruising the galaxy.
Ahsoka would have been their nanny. I mean,
Teaching them to read. Plays. But only plays.
Well, for me, I think the coolest thing was learning that Obi-Wan had a love interest at one point. The Duchess. How many Duchess Satines? Are there any Duchesses? I see. The Duchess. Stand up, Duchess. So those were wonderful moments. She was fantastic. She got candy, okay. So I thought that was great, but also for Plo Koon, I don't know if y'all know that I'm also Jedi Master Plo Koon, yes. And it's something I still want Ashley and I to be able to do, is the story of how Plo found Ahsoka. And we got hints of it in Tales of the Jedi, but I would love that. I think we need to do more with Satine, another, like a spin-off, right? And then a spin-off with Plo and Ahsoka, learning from Plo. That would be fun, so, yeah. Dee, what about you? You got so many.
Yeah. I think actually the clones really hit me the hardest for the first time was in the Umbara arc. I was stricken after those sessions, and I think it really, I found it really moving because they are hit with the worst kind of difficulty, but they keep going. And it's a really deeply tragic and sad reality that plays out in that particular arc. It was just quite severe, and it bothered me. It was hard to take that one home. These guys, they don't buckle and they don't stop, and they hang together and they just keep going. And I think I really started to appreciate the clones more deeply, particularly with that arc.
Pressure's on, Tasia.
Oh my God, finish strong. Well, it's all about Dee and the clones, but I'm gonna say, of course, that Shakti came back in the lost episodes, but I did really appreciate the idea that when the clones during their training, they failed, as we all must. She was so gentle and yet firm with them, but also really conveyed that they work as a unit the best. And I think in life, we all work better when we're in community, and the individual is important, but I think she really conveyed how important each of them were as a unit together. And I just thought that was, as a parent, we're always trying to better ourselves and have our children learn valuable lessons, and I just loved that one for her, so that was something I took.
Hey, what's your name, not Jedi?
Kotoya. I'm Ashley Stargazer. And inquiring minds want to know, I've just recently got into listening to podcasts. I would like to know what your favorite podcast is.
Ping-ponging back and forth. I'll say my own. No, I'm kidding. As a cheap plug, I'm starting my podcast back, season 5, episode 1 comes out next week. Talking to myself, a podcast, but no, that's not my favorite. I do listen to several different ones. I listen to one called Know the Truth by a pastor named Philip DeCourcy. And he's got this wonderful Irish accent. So anything he says is just beautiful. And I just love that, but it's more of a faith-based one. But yeah, that's the one that's probably the one I listen to the most, yeah. Did I give you all time to think of one?
Yeah, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't have a favorite
There
podcast.
are these things, they're kind of audio.
Does it happen over the internet?
Yes.
I'll get that someday.
I'm not in a season of podcast listening necessarily right now, but I like, for crime stuff, I like Up and Vanished a lot. And then there's another one called How I Built This by Guy Raz, and it's like interviewing CEOs and things like that, and how they start companies. And
How they take over empires.
Yes. You saw through that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and how to win friends and influence
Yes.
people. Yeah, but I like that one too.
It's so funny because podcasts are amazing, but my sister's here and she listens to a lot of podcasts, and my niece calls her podcast her boring lady news. She's like, are you listening to your boring lady news? But you know what? I will take the opportunity for a shameless plug. I am working on a new project, and it's with Disney, and it's an audio drama that will be released as podcasts. So it is a new series, and I'm very, very excited about it. So to Matt's point and Dee's point, I'm kind of new to podcasts. It wasn't a medium that was, kind of part of my routine, but it's becoming part of my routine, and I'm loving it. So we're going to be playing with sound and music and writing in ways that we haven't done before. So I'm very excited.
So I'm a health nut in a nice way, but I love always learning and trying to be healthier because our bodies are definitely needed to support us for as long as we like to live. And so there's some really great healthy podcasts of learning just life hacks, and one of the ones I really like is a lovely man, I don't know if they were Dr. Mark Hyman, but he's really very cool at teaching you how to be healthy, but not like extreme one way or the other. So I know it's not the most glamorous, but I like Dr. Mark Hyman, what he has to teach, because I want to live a long, healthy life, and I got to learn how to do it, and it's certainly not like in the 5-minute doctor's offices, so it's got to be somewhere in the world, so I definitely recommend him. And he's written like 20 books or something.
These are great questions. These are different questions. I like all these questions, you guys. It's very different from our usual.
And unfortunately, we are just about time. We have time for one more question, but Bobby here wanted to ask it, so I wanted to bring him up so everybody can see him and see his awesome cosplay he's got. Okay, Bobby, are you ready? Okay, what do you want to know?
What makes everybody except Ahsoka's strength strong?
What makes everybody strong? He thinks your stripes are already strong, and it makes your fun strength. So, what do you think makes each of your characters strong?
Oh, that's such a great question, Bob.
Like, legitimately, probably one of the best questions we've ever been asked.
Yeah, that's better than all you grown-ups. Way better. Podcasts? What makes us strong?
Yeah. Podcasts.
It could be some deep answers here, potentially.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna go with, I'll just start it off, the Force! There is a force within all of us, and it makes us strong and powerful, and it is very uniting. But you have it right inside of you. You're super strong.
Awesome. I'll see my brother clones make me strong.
Well, Obi-Wan is a true believer in the Force, and I'm a true believer in another Force, and so I think it's probably the fact that he never bends or breaks, and he holds tight and always has the high ground. So.
I think Anakin's passion makes him strong. A little dangerous at times, but strong.
Yes.
Well, aside from her stripes, what makes Ahsoka so strong is that she's kind. Because sometimes, we don't look at being kind as powerful, but it's actually so much harder to do the right thing and the kind thing and the nice thing than to not do it. And sometimes it's so easy to just go to the dark side. But
Me? No.
But Ahsoka is so strong because she's kind and she helps others no matter what.
Yeah.
Bobby, you seem pretty tough. You're tough, right? What makes you strong?
Well, because I have a very kind heart, and because I have strong muscles, and I'm drinking shakes to get them even stronger. And I drink chocolate shakes.
Chocolate shakes. Okay, a good heart and chocolate shake. All right. Bobby's mom, where are you? Come on up. Come on up. Okay, all right. Well, friends, what's on everybody's docket? Any projects you're allowed to share with us?
Go, you guys.
Oh, well, I shared about the audio drama. Can't share too much more now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yes, I designed a new Star Wars collection that's coming to the Disney parks very, very soon. So stay tuned for that.
I have
Yes.
got an Amazon show coming out pretty soon. It's called Motorheads. Don't know the date, but that's coming out. We're working on a project
Gabriel
together.
the Guardians with Johnny Young Bosch, yeah. I have several new projects coming out, but I just finished a movie that I did myself. It's called Hidden Blessings. It's on Amazon. It's on Tubi. It's on Roku. It's on Redeem TV. It's on Salem now. Check it out. It's a movie I wrote, directed, produced, and did the sound for. It's called Hidden Blessings. Check it out.
I have the project of picking up the dog poop in my yard as soon as I can, and I'm going to try to finish reading through 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea before the end of the month.
You know, they have a podcast of that you can listen to.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
I did a TED Talk called Give Great Voice. That is about how we can channel our own voice of our artists in our own life so we can communicate with our voices beautifully. And now I am writing a book about that. So that'll be coming out. And I know it's kind of funny because I wasn't planning on writing a book about giving great voice, but it'll be on Audible. And it's really to empower everyone that how important your voices are and how important it is to use them with the people you love, for yourself and your community, and that our voices still are our most powerful communication tool. So please know how important it is and don't give it up to your fingers and your digits, okay?
And speaking of voices, Dee, whenever somebody, all the panels I've done, people say, oh, do you have any voice for being an actor? They always refer to you and what you got going on. Can you tell us about that?
If you're interested in acting or voice acting, or becoming a professional, creative professional person, my website, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, is free, and everything that I learn and I inflict all the opinions that I have upon you totally for free. If you are interested, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com.
It's wonderful.
And one final question. Would you all like to take a picture with this amazing audience? All right. Everybody, come up towards the stage. Not on the stage. Towards the stage. We'll take a picture of this amazing cast and all of you. And don't forget, a few minutes after this, they will be back at their tables. Stop on by. Got a lot of neat stuff.